Police officers undermining the concept of trial by jury, undermining the principles of natural justice, perverting the course of justice is what we're going to look at in this story. And this particular story comes from Houghton-le-Spring, which is up near Sunderland in the northeast of England, not the one in the Lake District. According to this, Northumbria police have announced that a few days ago that they've rearrested a couple on suspicion of murder over the death of their 2-year-old daughter. Now, in April 2025, a little girl was rushed to hospital with serious head injuries, where sadly she passed away on the 24th of April. A police spokesperson confirms the couple have been rearrested and bailed, pending further inquiries. The spokesperson goes on to ask the public to avoid speculation online and in the community. And ordinarily, I would respect that request. However, sources close to the family, I can say nothing more, tell a different story. Now, according to the sources close to the family, this little girl had been removed from her parents by Sunderland Social Services, and for a while she was with her grandparents, and also for a while she was with a foster family. During this time, the parents were allowed supervised visits in a contact centre, and during these sessions, unexplained bruises were noticed by the child's parents on the little girl, reported to Sunderland Social Services, who ignored them. Now, in April 2025, Sunderland Social Services returned this little girl to her parents, and within an hour of the child's return home, she collapsed with a seizure. She was rushed to hospital, and sadly, as I say, on the 24th of April, she passed away. Now, before undercover psychic and people like that jump in with kids aren't taken from their families without good reason, or if they're having supervised visits in a contact centre, they must have done something, and trust me, I'm coming back to that phrase, and phrases like that. Let's just consider the two sides of this story. On the one hand, we have the version from sources close to the family, and on the other hand, we have the version released to the press by Northumbria Police. And by released to the press, I mean it's been on the BBC, it's been on ITV, it's been, I think, in The Sun, The Guardian, and the Sunderland Echo. Those are just some of the outlets I've seen the story on. Now, I cannot stress too strongly that I am not giving out my opinion on which version is correct. I strongly believe that until 12, puzzled old sweethearts selected at random off of New Bottle Street have given a verdict, we don't know what's happened. If asked to pick a side, I would say I'm on the side of that little girl, 2 years old, dead from serious head injuries. But my attention has actually also been drawn to this spokesperson asking for no speculation. On the face of this is fair enough. The idea is clearly so as not to prejudice a jury should it ever come to a trial. So here's the problem. If they don't want to prejudice a jury, why release the story to the press in the first place? A story which by its nature is shocking. And in the minds of anyone seeing this on the news or reading it in the newspaper, human nature being what it is, will have folk thinking, well, if the police arrested this couple and the CPS think it worth bringing a prosecution, there must be something in it. They wouldn't do that without good reason. The point being, the release of this story at all has the potential to prejudice a juror. And let's not forget, one of the elements of perverting the course of justice is that an act has been done which has or have a tendency to pervert the course of public justice. And that is from the CPS website. So let's look at that press release. A Northumbria police spokesperson has asked the public to avoid speculation. So now let's consider the source of that request. Northumbria Police. Now, according to the IOPC figures released for the year 2022 to 23, and this is the latest figures we have from them, Northumbria Police received 3,400 complaints. They have a force of 5,833 officers, which amounts to 583 complaints per 1,000 officers, and this is IOPC figures. Take a closer look at Northumbria Police, and on the basis of the Family Court's good old balance of probability, let's take a look at Northumbria Police. In 2015, the then Chief Constable, Sue Sim, took early retirement rather than face the outcome of an investigation into allegations of misconduct and bullying of colleagues. 2021, PC Lee Scott was sacked for gross misconduct over some offensive Facebook posts he made about George Floyd and for making homophobic comments about a colleague. In September 2022, PC McLennan was sacked for sending inappropriate messages and inappropriate behaviour towards a female victim in a domestic abuse case he was investigating. Just 8 days ago, PC Georgia Ogilvy was sacked for making false allegations against a male colleague that he indulged in sexually inappropriate behaviour towards her, leading to his suspension. And to make matters worse, she wasn't charged for what is clearly and actually a criminal offence. In fact, if you read the report on Georgia Ogilvy, it meets the evidential and public interest criteria to charge her with perverting the course of justice. Now, these are not isolated incidents. Officers in this force have been done for doctoring incident logs and tampering with evidence. Remember the Family Court and the balance of probability? And these are just the incidents we know about. How many times have the IOPC actually said no case to answer when there is clear evidence of misconduct by a police officer or by a police force? So suddenly the integrity of this force, and by extension the no speculation request, and the fact of their press release takes on a new slant. Remember what I said earlier about little buzzwords that prompt people to think someone is guilty, such as children aren't taken from their families without good reason. If you had to visit your child in a contact centre, have supervised visits in a contact centre, you must have done something. How many times have we seen in a police report that's been submitted to the family court phrases like, this family has fled domestic violence, there's a non-molestation order in place. Not there are allegations of domestic violence, but this family have fled domestic violence. There is a non-molestation order in place. How many times has a police force put that into a report to be submitted to the local authority, to CAFCAS, or to a family court? They are treating these incidents, these matters, as evidence of wrongdoing, without any attempt to make it clear they're talking about allegations, not a proven fact. In point of fact, they're using these things, non-molestation orders, visits in a contact centre, the CPS think there's a case to answer. They're using these as evidence of guilt, when the reality is that the only people who should be determining innocence or guilt, and by extension ruling that somebody should be deprived of their liberty, are the 12 puzzled old sweethearts. And in releasing this story to the press, they have by extension prejudiced the minds of any potential jurors. Think about that. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Have you seen evidence of incidents like this applying to you in your fight with family court, the police, CAFCAS, or social services? Thank you, and good afternoon.